Hi, today we're going to talk about the skill on how to set effective one-on-one meetings with your team members. This is a very important part of respect because we cannot develop the right respect for someone if we don't know who they are, we don't know them on the personal side too, what are their feelings, how they communicate, what they expect. So it's very important that we schedule regularly one-on-one meetings with the team members. This is very important to develop the empathy within the team. A great team needs empathy. Is the link that pulls together everyone in the team. Empathy means putting in the shoes of the other person and try to see with their glasses. So you empathize with your team members, with your leaders, and also with the customers. When you're creating a product, for example, you want to see how the customer feels about it, not how you feel about it. You have to solve their problems. So you want to see, hey, if it is it easy to use for them? Can they access easily? Can they pay easily? Is the size right for them? So that's the most important part about empathizing, trying to see with the other eyes. The same happens with team members. To be empathetic to each other, remember everyone is important and needed to achieve the company purpose. From the janitor guy to the analyst in the call center or the director, communication has to flow from and to every part of the organization. Across departments, across hierarchies, if there are any, and to suppliers, to customers, also outside of the company. Everyone needs to be heard because we are going to have much more information and better ready to make decisions for the company. Now, the problem is that with the customer, you may set up surveys, you may set up customer focus groups, but how do you communicate with your team? Not everyone in the team likes to talk about things or to discuss problems, especially if you're working with someone remotely. That person may be someone that just don't discuss how they feel, they just try to work. So it's very important that as a leader, you try to discuss not only work issues but also personal issues to try to understand what's the person going on right now, what are their main problems, and try to empathize with their main needs. The way to achieve that is to get to know them personally through one-on-one meetings. You cannot achieve this in a team meeting. You cannot go deep in this conversation. So you need to have a one-on-one individual meeting with that person. Now, how often do people receive feedback from their managers? Well, a survey done by Gallup shows that only 7% receive it daily, 19% receive it a few times a week, 27% receive it a few times a month, 28% receive only a few times a year, and 19% receive it once a year or less. This is a very important problem. The process of evaluating employees it's very difficult. Many companies have only an annual performance evaluation system. So some leaders just tend to have only one conversation a year. That's not a lot. That's not enough because whenever you have a problem, you have to discuss it right when it happens, when you have a challenge or when you want to praise someone for a good work, you need to do it at the right time. Sometimes employees have questions on their work and they may feel like you're not open to them if you don't have these frequent sessions. So you are the one to define when to have these sessions, to have them often, and open the channels so that people can ask you for meetings if they need something more often. The other problem is that only 26% of the employees strongly agree that the feedback they receive helps them to do better work. So there's also the problem that you may have frequent sessions, but they are not good enough for the employee, or they're not useful for them. So we need to work on how to make the right sessions at the right time, and how to build them in a way that they are more effective. Let's work now how to give the one-on-one feedback. So again, the session can be initiated by the coachee or by the coach. It doesn't have always to be something very well scheduled. So you can schedule your regular meetings so that you don't forget. But apart from that, if the person needs something, you need to act quickly. You need to stay open and available wherever you are asked for this session. Don't delay it. Just define when is the best time and schedule it as soon as possible. You may catch many problems if you are able to have these meetings early on. In case you need to initiate it because there's a particular thing you want to discuss, offer feedback again as soon as possible so that the problem or the challenge is fresh and you remember how it happens, and you can discuss how to avoid it in the future. There's a basic process I recommend for you to hold your one-on-one sessions, and it goes from the personal level to the professional level, and at the end, go back to the personal level. You need to connect with the employees and see if they really feel comfortable with the discussion and what you agree after the coaching. So the first thing is to spend the first 5 minutes of your one-on-one meetings to connect and observe, just asking questions about the person's life. How are they doing? Especially if you are in a remote setting, you don't see them every day, so you don't know if they are being delayed or they're working less, they're working more. You don't know all the details, so you need to ask them how's their family doing, or if they are dealing with any challenges apart from work. It might feel like a waste of precious time, but it's not. It's really a way to ensure that you build this human connection apart from the professional life. Then what you have to work is on the professional level, try to define four main things, which are the first one, the R. This is the rope process. The first R is for results. You need to define what do you expect from this meeting, or what do you expect in general from this person. The goals need to be as clear as possible. We talked about goals in the other skills. It's very important that the person knows exactly what you expect from them and how you expect them to do it, and you all agree how you're going to do it. Now, whenever you agree this, you will have opportunities and you will have problems. So opportunities may be things or ideas that you can work on in order to achieve those results. And problems may be things that may interfere in how you achieve those results. So you need to talk about that. And finally, you need to define how you will execute them. This needs to be super clear how you're gonna do it. It doesn't mean that you have to define it. Basically, during this coaching process, you need to ask more questions than to state things. So you may wonder, hey, so how are you gonna achieve this that we agreed? And then also, they will propose how they're gonna do it. Then you can discuss it and agree on the final way to achieve those results. Then at the end of the conversation, you go back to the personal level, trying to ensure everything was expressed. Some people just feel uncomfortable saying no to a boss or to a leader. Just make sure this is a regular conversation and there's no right or wrong. There's just a way that we agree to do together. And then ensure continuity. So try to set up when is the time that you will meet again. If you have already a schedule of sessions, that's great that you meet every week or every month or whatever. That's good, but just try to define when is the next meeting going to be held. Be mindful that some people may want to speak more. Some people may need that you ask more questions that you can speak, also that they can express how they feel. and try to write down all the answers so that you don't repeat questions, the same questions in every meeting. There are some things that you need to remember. Just try to keep like a profile of the employee, just the same way you would do with a customer. Try to keep this log of what are the things that they like, what are how many people are in the family, do they have kids, what are the challenges that I'm going through, and keep that log every time you talk to them. What I would recommend is that you make this process as informal as possible. If you make this too formal and you have all your written questions and you make it too like, hey, we need to tick in the box, the person will take it so seriously that they will be afraid of these sessions. So make it more informal. Try to agree on things that you all can agree, and make them write it down too, so that you all keep track on what needs to be done. And the most important thing here is that you also define, hey, during the execution, do you need help? Is there anything that you can do to improve next time? Maybe do the feedback session in a different way, or do you need that I track your performance during this in between the meetings? Try to define all those things with the employee. Everyone is different, so you need to understand how everyone works. Now, the other thing to consider is how often will you do it? Where while there are no right or wrong answers, you have to do them more often. Again, once a year is not good enough. You have to make them as soon as frequent as possible. And the companies that are having best results with their team recommend at least to have every week, especially if you have a remote team. This is very important. Many companies, while working remotely, and just don't prefer not doing one-on-ones. They stick to do them just face to face, but really extending to the remote work requires changing the habits too of coaching and do them more frequently. Especially in times of uncertainty, a deep understanding of the employee challenges and concerns is vital to ensure that they will be able to provide a great service and that they are feeling comfortable with their work. Some have children and they cannot work every day as they would do in the past, or some are alone and they feel like the work is everything and they may work 10 or 15 hours a day, and that's not good either. So you have to achieve a common goal with them. You have to agree on how many hours they can work, on how they're going to work, but don't focus more on the timing, on the amount of hours, but focus on what they need to achieve. There are some people that when they are under pressure, they can work much better and they can achieve more in less time. So everyone is different. Just try to focus on their results. There are many companies that are organizing other ways of coaching, not only with the leaders, but they are doing cross coaching. The energy company 5, based in Irving, Texas, organized a cares team to touch base with every employee every week. They do group coaching, supervisor coaching, and cross coaching, where any employee can coach you, from a team member to one of the owners. They do at least one-on-one monthly deep dive also, and a group annual coaching sessions. So this means that you get more peer reviews. Especially this is good for self-organized teams where the leader just facilitate interactions, or where there are no leaders at all. You can do peer coaching. Everyone can help each other. All you have to do is listen to them and see from their point of view and try to provide your perspective or ask more questions like a psychologist to let them see other ways of thinking. Other company, which is the 1-800 contacts, the chief marketing officer, Phil Bienert, says that when working remotely, and coaching has to be 2 or 3 times more frequent. So it's very important that both the employee and the leader manage time to be able to accomplish this. You don't have to have very long conversations. Maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes every week, it's enough. It depends on the employee and what are the issues that they are going through. But yes, it's more important not only when you have remote teams, but also when you have new employees, new members, to have these conversations more often, to see how they are feeling, and to see what if they understand what it's expecting from them, and make them feel comfortable. To enhance communication and also to improve the empathy with the person that you're talking to, belonging cues are very important. These are active listening, eye contact, having frequent interactions, vulnerabilities of when you speak about how you feel, or what when something's wrong, when you accept there's a mistake, also providing continuous feedback and having cohesion during losses. So that's also very important. Whenever you have a big problem, maybe there's a loss in the company, or a big mistake, or maybe someone lost a dear person, this is when you need to be together the most. These are belonging cues, cues that you give to your employees or your team members, that you all belong to a team and that you all work together no matter what happens. To make sure communication and empathy go together and the team gets good habits, the example of the coach or the leader are key. So whenever you do your one-on-one, do the things that you would expect them to do with the other team members. So first, do not interrupt when they're speaking. Maybe you have an idea, write it down, but always focus on what they are trying to say. Whenever they finish talking, you may summarize what the person said to make sure that you understand what they are talking about. Look in the eye as much as possible. Again, maybe if you're working remote, when remotely it's not the same as having a face-to-face conversation, but still you can have the video open. Avoid the just the phone conversation. Whenever you're given feedback, just try to go and have a conversation when you can look in the eye. Encourage them to express, open different channels. Maybe you can have a weekly session with the video, where you are very structured with the raw process. Or you can also have, apart from that, different channels where they can discuss things, or when they can ask you questions, maybe channels, maybe the chat, maybe the email. Open different ways of communicating so that ideas are not just lost. Some people's also, or some companies have a list of ideas, or a database where the employees can record all the ideas or the questions or the problems they have. This is great that you can continue this flow of communication with the employee and make them feel comfortable about offering these ideas and suggestions. Avoid judging them. Just listen and try to understand. This is a very important part. Just the same way we do with the brainstorming, we try to listen to all the ideas and try to understand what's behind them. It's the same with your coach and employee. Avoid judging them, and just try to listen what they're going through. Sometimes they don't need you to say anything. They just need you to listen. And last, create a space to solve conflict. If there is conflict, there is a challenge with other employees, or there's a problem with how you're managing with this person, please open a space to solve this conflict. You may want to involve someone else to help you out, or you want at least to try to see what's going on and then work towards solving it. If you just hide the conflict, it won't go away, and the person will suffer in the long term, as well as the results of the company. I like very much a tool that Toyota, the manufacturing automobile company, has, which is the unknown chord. It's a chord that goes in every part of the company, especially in the manufacturing part, where employees can trigger whenever they have a problem, whenever they have a challenge. That calls the attention right away of the team leader to go and help, or it's just saying that they need more time to accomplish something. So it's very important that we all build this unknown code everywhere, in a remote team, in an office, in a call center, um, everywhere, in every type of company we can set this unknown code so that our employees ask for help or provide ideas for improvement. To finish this skill, I would like you to use this template. This is a suggestion that you can use to have this discussion with your employees. Try to organize the feedback sessions first, define a regular schedule if it's possible, and use this template as reference where you first discuss the purpose of the conversation, you discuss the opportunities, what the alternatives, are the ideas that you have to solve this, what are the problems that you may find, what could go wrong, uh, how to reduce the challenges that you may find, what kind of training you may need, and the execution, how you will achieve that, what is that needs to be done, who will do it, when, and how. So try to get this in all your conversations so that it guides you to a productive feedback session with your employees. Now it's reflection time. Take 5 minutes to discuss and to think about all the things that we discussed in the respect module and write down 3 highlights out of it. I hope you enjoy this module, and please contact me if you have any question. This is my email address, and you can also contact me through my social media for questions or suggestions. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.